Brought to you by EasyHypnosis.ca.
It will be our 11th episode here, so I welcome here Kemila Zsange, hypnotherapist and counselor from Vancouver area, and her website is camilahypnosis.com. And she's been working in hypnosis field for 10 years already, working with people in different aspects hypnotically and allowing people to express their full potential. Thank you so much for joining us. And could you tell us a little bit more about your practice?
Thank you for having me, Tatiana. It's been a journey, and for whatever reasons, like from day one, I decided to go full time, and it's up and downs. And what I found is that when you graduate from a program, like I went through a counseling hypnotherapist, a 2-year program. It's not the end, it's really the beginning. And the really learning started there. So every person I've worked with, really, they were my true teachers. That's how I learned, working with them to understand their mind. I often say to people, there might be, billions of people out there in the world, and there might be many issues, many disorders. But there's only one mind that creates all of that, and it's quite dysfunctional.
Isn't it fascinating how many things can be created by our mind, and
Absolutely.
how like different shifts of perspective can help to get out of an unresourceful state into a more resourceful state? And I think hypnosis is a pretty powerful tool to do this shift.
It's very powerful, and thank you. It's that state shift, really. That's what we do. We create a state, and a lot of people are already hypnotized by whatever their beliefs and their thoughts.
Yeah, so that's what happens.
Like my job is to take them from one state, a state of suffering, for example, into another state that they prefer, and therefore we don't really necessarily change the mechanism of their mind, but to change the state so that even the same mechanism becomes more resourceful, as you say, functions better from that another state.
Yeah, it's like one hypnotist that I know said once that she identifies herself as a mood artist. I think she said it while she was working with a child, so that to explain the essence of what she was doing. So I think it's a nice thing to put it into words. And what are your favorite, let's say, issues to work with, or maybe some issues that you work the most with?
I don't have a favorite. It's the same mind that creates all the issues. So I'm very interested in that mind, and in that, what, of course, in our profession, we call that the subconscious mind. So what is that motivation? What is that drive? What is that energy that behind whatever the issues? So I don't really identify issues per se. There can be behavioral, like eating too much, exercise less, or it can be emotional, like anxiety, anger. It can be mental, like the thought patterns, and that keep them trapped in a certain way. Could be anything, really. I don't have a favorite. I may have favorite people who know how to take responsibility for their life.
Yeah, that's true. It's so important, because sometimes people believe that they come to a hypnotist and they do something to them and then it changes. But basically, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of application of tools and self-development in a way.
No, exactly. Their mind is not really foreign for them, but somehow some people certainly they want to project that out, and you change that. Good luck, Kemila.
Is that true?
So I don't have much good luck if you give everything into my hands.
Yeah, so true. And talking about weight losses, it's a very complex thing if we think about it, and I think it's quite important now as an issue because of the quarantine thing, and many people find themselves in a situation when they move less when they eat a little bit more, or they have emotional charge. Or so I think it's getting a little bit more important even to talk about.
Right.
And being complex, it involves like habits, actions, like you mentioned, and also emotional underlying like reason or cause. So I wonder, working with the weight loss, how do you usually proceed?
Well, the first thing is always to listen to them, right?
Yeah.
And so there's like one presenting issue, for example, weight loss, and you look at them, and of course, some people they look perfect, they look slimmer than I, but they want to lose 20 pounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So keep the judgment to myself, right? You listen to them, and there's one presenting issue, but there are just unlimited numbers of causes. You know, some people it's a matter of portions, it's a matter of choices of foods, the types of foods. Sometimes it's a matter of, as you say, lack of exercises, especially these days we're so close to the fridge now, right?
Yeah, closer than we usually are.
Yeah, I heard a joke, like, you know, government of Canada should issue another order that people should wear masks at home to prevent them from overeating.
Yeah.
So listen to them. So all different sorts of causes could be emotional. It's a huge, right? People, they could even identify that. A lot of people I work with, they come in, they say, I know it's not hunger. I know it's loneliness, it's distress. It's all sorts of boredom. It's big, right? It's all sorts of other things. I know it. I just can't control it, right? So now we are working not just the food. We're working with boredom. We're working with loneliness. Yeah. How do we address those things? Mm-hmm. And so when I listen to them, I get creative because they are giving me the way I see it. They're talking about food. They're giving me bits of ingredients, really. And so it's up to me as a chef in a session to cook up a meal, and that can become very, very powerful suggestions for them. And it's all coming from them. Can I tell you a story, for example?
Yeah.
So there was a musician, and it's a he, actually. So he has a day job, and so he wants to do more of music at night. But at night, he found himself just kind of getting lazy, watching too many YouTube videos, eating too much as he was watching, and just not doing his music. Now, he knew there was music flowing. Like, he could hear it. He could even dream about music, he said. But he's just not taking the action. And so that's procrastination. That's one presenting issue. And another presenting issue is to eat less. And he wanted to stop eating after like 7:30 in the evening, just be done with food, right? But he couldn't do it on his own. So he thought he needed, multiple sessions because he's, eating and weight loss, and then also the procrastination. But as, listen to his lifestyle and kind of finding things. So I literally just used everything in what he gave me and turned it around, changed it into become procrastinating in eating.
Oh, that's a nice turn, right? Okay.
Yeah, so it's like that's the example of actually, even two different separate issues can become addressed in the same way. So every time when you come home, there's a thought of go to food, because it's a habitual thought. The thought it's innocent, doesn't know anything else to think. It just keeps doing that.
Yeah,
and so when you hear that innocent thought, instantly it just motivates you to do the music, to just get onto it. And you're aware of the thought, and you can tell yourself, yeah, not now, later. I'll go to fridge later.
That's a reminder to make music instead.
Yeah, so you are doing the music. So it's like, so there's nothing differently that he's going to do in my suggestion. It's just like the thought and the fridge becomes the thought, music, and fridge. And just keep telling yourself, I can do it later. So you're procrastinating that. But I didn't say that. It's just kind of used that procrastination. So you become very good at it, because you're good at procrastinating. You might be procrastinating something. So that
what a powerful reframing.
Yeah, that just it worked. It's like now he's doing music, now he's procrastinating eating, right? It's also very soothing for that part of the mind. That voice says that you should go to food. I'm not fighting anymore. I'm not saying I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm saying later, not now. So that part soothes itself. It's like, okay, fine, as long as you're going to eat it, that's fine. So I'm going to eat it. But then at the end, when you have done your music, when you get so energized, he told me after, oftentimes he actually said, am I still hungry? Actually, no.
Yeah, it's a different state.
There's no need to eat anymore because just the appetite is gone, right? Because the appetite was created by the habit. But even it's coming, you better go to take food. Right.
Yeah, no problem with that when it's a real hunger and not emotional. Well, it's very interesting what you are saying, really. So it's a very personalized approach, and you use those little bits and merge them in a new way. And sometimes people are really amazed at how different parts of their lives can interconnect, like you explained.
Oh, totally. So yes, sometimes there are different issues, but I find one thing can always lead to another. So if someone shows up with a list of issues of relationship and habit of not exercising and all of that, and you can see there's always a thread going through all of that. So I would normally ask them to give me permission to start. I say, you got tons of issues here, and we may end up the place to address all of them, may not, I don't know. But where should we start? Because give me one of them. We have to start somewhere. So they give me wherever to start, doesn't really matter because it's really their mind, their life, right? Whatever important for them, they get to decide. If occasionally some people are so indecisive, it's like, I don't know, Kemila, why don't you start for me? Then I say, maybe we should add one more issue to that, indecisiveness. Maybe we should work on that first.
Yeah.
Really, I want them to take responsibility, to take the initiative.
It's so important. I'm
a facilitator. I'm journeying with you. I don't decide where you should go. You tell me where you want to go. I'm a tourist guide. I know the territory. I can, guide you there, really.
True. And if you think about weight loss, maybe you have a few things that you quite often suggest people to do, even though, like you said, people come with all sorts of stories, and there is no single weight loss client who will be similar to another. It's all different. At the same time, some things like self-hypnosis, or maybe a little exercises, mental exercises that you like to share with your weight loss clients would be interesting to listen about.
The go-to thing that I use to work with everyone is listening to your body. So to cultivate that, listening to your body, even though your mind wants you to eat, but you don't send the food to your brain, you send the food to your tummy. You might as well check with your tummy first. So that's nice thing. It's always the first session, always install a system. And I can call that a scale system. Like anytime you can eat whatever you eat, how much ever you eat. It's very important to say that because they have been fighting with themselves for so long. I don't really want them to continue to fight, so that the part of them that wants to get the better looking to win the battle, if that part wins, there's another part of yourself loses, and it's still a losing game. It's a totality of the winning. So it's that cultivate that self-acceptance. So accepting there is part of me that wants to eat. It's already reality. I do want right now. So again, tell yourself I can eat as much as I want, as whatever I want. It's just, tell yourself that's okay. You can procrastinate that, right? So just because you're thinking that they have the thoughts, they have no problem with the thought process. It's just that action they can't correct. So you tell yourself, I can eat as much as you want, but let me check with my tummy first. So again, it's like pause, take a little pause. Don't go thought, action, thought, check with my tummy, since tummy is going to be the organ, be the part that takes all of the junk, should I say, sometimes take all of the unnecessary stuff. And so just to check with it. So on a scale 1 to 10, so they tell me, because different cultural background, there was different interpretation. So for me, for example, 1 meaning I'm starving, and 10 meaning I'm so stuffed, like one of those Thanksgiving dinners that feel stupid, right?
Yes.
So you really don't want to go to 10 any time. It's just like, it's not nice, it hurts, really. And you don't want to go to 1 because who wants to be starved, right? And so sit up. Some people tell me, oh no, 1 means full and the 10 means starving. That's fine. Or just alter that. So whatever it works for it. It's
great
just like
flexibility.
In hypnotherapy. Yeah, in hypnotherapy too, like people like to count. I like to count from 1 and 5 to 1, 5 to 0, going down deeper.
Oh yeah,
but there are schools who teach you to count up,
yes.
right? So I don't. It doesn't really matter. It's all
doesn't
relevant.
really matter.
So they tell me their scale. So it's every time I said the best, the healthy life is maybe to between 3 and 8, and 8 is content. Like my father-in-law's language. I love that. Sufficiently sponsified. I think I made that up, but that's the feeling of content, right? So you want to eat to 8, no more, because when you go more, you're going to suffer. You're going to feel stupid. You feel just too much, but you don't want to go under 3. So, but the system is not created by me. It's introduced by me. They have to go into their life to feel into that. To install that in their own way, to say, what does a 4 mean? What does a 5 mean? Kind of. But when you install that, it starts to work. Long time ago, like 8, 9 years ago, when I was still starting, I remember I wanted to lose like 10 to 15 pounds because I was going back home. I'm from China. Folks from home are all looking fit, and I was a little bit overweight. So I wanted to lose a little bit to show up. So I was, starting with my hypnotherapy practice. You know what? I'm going to use hypnosis to do that. At that time,
good idea.
My nephew, 18-year-old boy, international student who was living with us. And so I didn't even have a space. I normally go to the bathroom, close the door, sitting on the toilet seat with a cover, and do the hypnosis, self-hypnosis myself. And since I was doing that, that's how the scale system started with myself. And then I was cooking for the family of my partner and my nephew. So it's just like, hey, let's introduce this. So every time I'm asking, are you hungry? Tell me a number. And so it's getting everyone in the family going with that, right? It's kind of fun. To this day, when my nephew, no, of course, he's on his own now. When they visit us, right? They visit us and we're just kind of hanging out and chatting, and not sure when the cooking is going to start. And then I start to ask them, hey, Devin, are you hungry? Oh, 3.5.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
So
I love it.
It's like an internal
system.
And
System that actually have been to come from your own gut, your own body. You can't come from the head. The head says, hey, go for the food. You're hungry, right? That's what the head says. But okay, I hear you. Let me check. It just takes a few seconds. To start, it's a little awkward. You go, maybe that's 8, maybe it's a 5. That's okay. That's how you start to get
no wrong answer here, right?
No wrong answer. Now, whatever number you get, very soon, actually, you become more intuitive. Mm-hmm. This kind of connection, and gut is a second brain. That's what they say, right? In bed, bed has a say to it, and so there is that. Very soon, like I can tell you, I actually didn't have breakfast today because I felt dry in my mouth. I overslept, and so when I have wet hair, you can tell, and I just had my hair washed.
Oh, it looks nice.
Oh, thank you. So right now, for example, strange enough, like I had a fast, right? Like, without eating overnight and without having breakfast. Sometimes coffee can give you the illusion that you're not hungry. So maybe that's worked. So right now, the feeling, even though it doesn't make sense, because the last thing I ate was about 7 o'clock last night. But the feeling I have right now is a 6. The gut telling me 6.
I'm checking mine now. I'd say 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's really not easy in the beginning, but it gets really easy with practice. And
yeah, so just like you, because it's like a language you're speaking from your own body, right? Like learning any language, you start by yes or no, numbers, right? And still you need to practice. So now I can just interpret that language, whatever sensation my belly is telling me, 6. So that's interesting because it doesn't make sense. It's been so long, I haven't eaten anything, but I have to go for it. Sometimes like my partner is a typical example. He's a thinker, right? I think, therefore I am. So you ask him, hey, Tim, are you hungry? And he either go, I think I am.
It's all very interesting. And thinking about mindfulness, now it's such a big word, mindfulness here, mindfulness there. But I think it's powerful, really, truly. And sometimes we find ourselves eating just in an environment that is not conducive to eating, or we are too distracted. Yeah, or we are too distracted from the process. So we are eating and thinking about something else, or watching TV, or checking the phone. So we cut this connection between our mind and our body, and kind of don't get the signal that it's enough. So
right.
mindfulness is quite important and not very easy as well in the beginning. So set aside things and just concentrate on this important task.
It's not easy because when we listen to the mind tells us that's so boring. Let's eat and watch TV. Let's eat. Look at the news, right? So it's like, so the mind tells you, dictates, it's boring. But when we constantly get dictated by the mind, there's no freedom. Like I some of the favorite feedbacks I get from people, like, out of nowhere you receive a text message from a client to say, oh, Kemila, you can't even believe it. For the past week, I was not even thinking particularly about food, and it feels so liberating, right? And so think about it. I'm not thinking about food, and this feels liberating. And therefore, that thought should not be the master of our life. And so the mind is going to tell you it's boring, do this, while we eat, do that, and get quick, eat faster, and get over and get a jump onto this bad news watching, right? And so the mindfulness is that, let me test. Again, we don't start by forcing, by thinking that's bad. There's no judgment that's needed. Let me experience it. It's me experimenting it. Even like the skill system, it's a curiosity. Let's experiment it.
Absolutely.
So curiosity opens up always the doorway now. And so you go, mindfulness, teachers have their yada yada blah blah. You can only listen to the teacher teaching and listen to their words, or reading book. It's still words. But what it's like for me to enjoy. So it's not about to stop thinking and eat the food. That's boredom, right? The mind is going to tell. But what is it to actually enjoy? To enjoy this, to enjoy the taste, enjoy the smell, the texture, enjoy. So you get curious, allow the curiosity part of you to open, and this mind, again, it's a friend, but send that to the passenger seat. I'm eating now, and something else is driving the vehicle. The mind says, oh, no, you don't know. And then you tell the mind, yeah, you're a better driver, but guess what? I'm in a driver's seat right now. Right? So you're better at driving, but you're not in the driver's seat. So what's the use of you? Okay, be the happy passenger. And so you utilize that. You open up the senses. That's what it is. The mindfulness is to be more sensual. To be more sensual in your life.
And it's more pleasure in things when we actually pay attention to what we're doing. More taste, the food is more delicious, and there is this Mandarin meditation, which is not Mandarin Chinese language, but Mandarin the fruit. And when you basically begin by looking at it, like looking at the texture, the weight, the colors, the sensations, before you start to slowly peel it, and then you kind of like look at inside.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you can also
the
think
aroma,
about,
right, comes out. Oh, yeah.
You can think of even where it comes from, how it got here. So all this way from the south to our northern true north, and also before you start to actually eat it, and slowly realizing how many senses are involved in all this. So I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, and also it ties into a lot of people I've worked with, a lot of women, they lack, sweetness in their life for some reason. There's too much bitterness. That's why they're addicted to sugar, And so when you put them in a hypnotic state and use the voice to tell them, because when they're in a hypnotic state, they kind of like flow with you, right? Wherever they are in the la la land, they're enjoying it, middle of nowhere where they need to go. But when you use the voice to guide them, they just easily go with you, and you introduce the sweetness back to their life. Mandarin, so sweet, because sweetness is normally felt from the front of the teeth, right? Like bitterness. There's something lingering in your tongue afterwards, and so you can even challenge the part of the mind that likes to be challenged. And I bet you have not noticed, or you have not believed that you can even find the sweetness in a tall glass of clear water. And so of course you're challenging them to go home. When you really kind of get into, as you say, the mindfulness, the sweetness from the water can be tasted actually. And so you find the sweetness elsewhere. Then who needs sugar when you can find sweetness in a kiss with your partner, when you can find the sweetness in a tall glass of water? And so you don't deprive them of this, the craving for sweetness, and you can take the sugar out of their life.
Awesome. Oh, so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing all this. Would you like to add anything about yourself or about your upcoming events or anything else?
Yeah, upcoming events, as we're in this May and 2020, it's all just paused. I normally host a lot of workshops in West End Community Center, but they're just paused right now. Really, we live with the mind and the body. So my final thoughts would be, let's invite mind and body together for this life we live.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you. Take care.